on Ignite News. City councilors respond to the possible consequences of Hamilton no longer being the Steel City.
The announcement yesterday has no impact apparently on any employees.
The first of a hoped annual event sees a great beginning.
Biggest importance for us is to get all the different African countries, 54 countries, to make sure people know that Africa is not just a country, but it's actually a continent.
And a Hamilton musician using an alternative instrument shows us how it's done. All that and more coming up today on Ignite News.
Good morning and welcome to your Ignite News for Wednesday, November 6th. I'm Noah Salo.
And I'm Brittany Medeiros. Here's what's making news.
It was an eventful day for Toronto Mayor Rob Ford yesterday. Not only did he admit that he smoked crack cocaine in one of his drunken stupors, he also announced his plan to run for re-election in 2014. One noted criminal lawyer has said Ford's admission is little more than a ploy to gain public sympathy. Meanwhile, In a Drunken Stupor is trending on Twitter. The controversy surrounding Rob Ford has been in headlines for weeks, and with his admissions yesterday, many people are calling for his resignation. We asked you, Mohawk students, if you believe that Rob Ford should resign.
I think Rob Ford should step down as mayor.
Yes, I do think Rob Ford should step down as mayor. His apology was awful.
The evidence does say that he has done it, then yes, I do think he should.
He's there for a reason. He does his job very well, from what I can tell. You know, just because he has one flaw doesn't make him a bad person, so I think he should just stay.
I don't think there's much doubt that Rob Ford should step down as mayor because he has to do it voluntarily because there's no mechanism in terms of the politics to ask him to resign. And his attitude is, let's just wait until the next election.
City Councillor Terry Whitehead is making an effort to ban the graphic banners depicting abortions that have caused outrage throughout Hamilton. Hamiltonians have flooded City Council with complaints of the banner, so Whitehead will be bringing forth a motion to discuss whether or not they can be outlawed. The Canadian Centre for Bioethical Reform, which is responsible for these banners, stands by their efforts and don't believe they can be blamed for any accidents that have occurred due to the banner's placement on the link. Whitehead hopes to find the balance in between the balance of freedom, expression, and traffic through concerns and around the issue.
The dangers of the roads impact pedestrians and cyclists the most, and the pedestrian death rates in Hamilton are astoundingly high. Hamilton's pedestrians are 42% more likely to get hit by a car than the provincial average. The rates of injury for cyclists in Hamilton are more than 81% higher than most provinces. The numbers are the second highest in Ontario, with the highest being in Windsor. These shocking statistics will be brought to Council, where councillors will discuss a new pedestrian mobility plan to combat the issue.
If you're looking for work, you may want to consider your career in the steel industry. Even with last week's news of U.S. Steel shutting down in Hamilton, don't worry, there will still be work. And if you don't want to work there, you can also go to Nelson Steel, Canadian Drawn Steel, or Laurel Steel. In fact, the steel industry in Canada will need more than 20,000 new workers in the next 5 years to replace retiring staff and fill new positions. Data collected by the City of Hamilton shows steel is still the core industry in Hamilton.
U.S. Steel announced the impending halt of steel and iron production last week, and the controversial decisions has caused uneasiness throughout the city. Ignite News reporter Rachel Williams discusses this with City Council.
The shutdown of U.S. Steel represents a loss of identity, not necessarily an economic loss. On October 29th, the American-based company announced plans to close its iron and steelmaking operations in Hamilton. The plants have been idle since 2010, but it still employs over 800 workers, 47 of which have received job loss notices. At a budget meeting, councillors demanded answers from the city manager's office about the legitimacy of these claims.
The announcement yesterday has no impact apparently on any employees. We talked about the 47 may be impacted, but I just heard that they're going to establish them in a different location.
Ward 8 Councillor Terry Whitehead, along with several city staff, voiced their concerns for what's going to happen to the 8,000 pensioners under U.S. Steel contracts, the 1,000 acres of brownfield land, and future budgetary impacts. John Savoy, Senior Policy Advisor for the City of Hamilton, said that some of the biggest impacts have already been felt.
In 2009, U.S. Steel shut down all their operations because of the recession that the entire country was experiencing. And what we saw was a reduction of 400,000 cubic meters of water from U.S. Steel. And that represents approximately $600,000 worth of revenue that basically was reduced in 2010.
The company is shutting down the plant because of recurring net losses, $1.8 billion in the third quarter of this year alone. They are still going to roll and finish steel in the city, but not produce it. So what does this mean for Hamilton's Steel City reputation?
Bothers me to think that the federal government and the provincial government, understanding the importance of the production of steel in your own country, will allow this kind of thing to take place, to allow the erosion of our capability and capacity to produce steel.
It is clear that Hamilton cannot be defined by steel anymore. Reporting for Ignite News, I'm Rachel Williams.
3 Canadian Senate members have been suspended due to reports that they have forged their expense claims. Conservative Senators Mike Duffy, Pamela Wallin, and Patrick Brazeau all face 2-year suspensions without pay for claiming housing and other expenses from the government. Harper's office says they are cooperating with police. However, the Conservatives are facing scrutiny over whether or not Harper was knowledgeable of any of these discrepancies before they became public.
A local church was the scene for a celebration of African music and culture. Ignite News reporter Elizabeth Chernachenko has the latest on a growing community in Hamilton.
The event welcomed the Hamilton community for a night of diverse musical performances. Enthusiastic keynote speakers, multicultural vendors and foods, as well as activities for children of all ages. This was organized by the newly formed Canadian African Multicultural Association. The CAMA president Omselama Abdul Saeed explained why she thinks Hamilton needs a group like this.
We are looking to our organization, to our people, from a cultural perspective. Not all the programs fill the needs of our people. That's why CAMA is existing. And not to duplicate any other organization, rather to help each other in the community to make Hamilton a better place to live.
Besides being a fun night, the purpose is deeply rooted in social education. Here were Andrew Amoa's thoughts.
The biggest importance for us is to get all the different African countries, 54 countries, right? To make sure people know that Africa is not just a country, but it's actually a continent of 54 diverse countries, cultures, and so forth. If we can get people to know about Africa, even more about Africa, and also get the different African nations to get together and work together in Hamilton and the GTA, that'd be wonderful for me. So I'm really excited about this. Tonight was a success.
Film producer Tyrone Greenidge is in full support.
You just want to be a part of it because we are on the same path. We are all trying to better ourselves, create a better tomorrow. I can't wait till this party next year because it's going to be bigger and better.
These community members have taken positive action to create the style of social support that they need. Tonight was the Pan-African Night, which is going to be the first of many events to come. My name is Elizabeth Chernachenko, reporting for Ignite News.
And that's all we have today in news. Let's take a look at what's coming up in sports, entertainment, and weather.
Coming up in weather, today is expected to be some showers. All this and more.
Coming up in sports, last night's NHL scores, the Raptors take on the Heat, and I've got your women's varsity basketball update.
In entertainment news, there's a lot happening on and around campus. The HMAs are being hosted at our McIntyre Theater again, and there's a DJ battle in the Arnie tonight. Stick around to find out more.
Teresa has the scores from the latest hockey and basketball games, as well as some varsity updates. Let's go to her for some sports news.
Action, the Montreal Canadiens were handed a 3-2 shootout loss by the St. Louis Blues. Rene Bourque and Michael Bourneval scored goals for the Habs, who were outshot 32-27 overall. Alex Steen scored early for the Blues, and Chris Stewart tied the game in the third period. TJ Oshie put in the shootout winner. The Calgary Flames skated into Minnesota and fell 5-1 to the Wild. The Wild's top line exploded for a combined 7 points. Zach Parisi scored twice, and both he and Miku Koivu had 3-point games. While goaltender Josh Harding continues to lead the league in goals against average and save percentage, and is undefeated in home games. Forward Yuri Hudler scored the Flames' lone goal. Now heading over to some NBA action, LeBron James was king of the court last night at the ACC, scoring a season-high 35 points as the Heat beat the Raptors 104-95. James is now the 5th player in NBA history to score 10 points or more in 500 consecutive games, and he's in good company, joining Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Michael Jordan, Karl Malone, and Moses Malone as the only players to accomplish this feat. Toronto led 45-34 at 4:56 in the second, but were unable to put out the Heat's flame as Miami closed the half on an 18-5 run and stayed on fire with the lead for the remainder of the game. The Mountaineers women's basketball team has been dominating the court so far this season. I made it out to practice this week to find out the secret to the team's winning ways. Mohawk's women's varsity basketball team is practicing hard following a successful preseason and a win in their first regular season game. The team went 7-1 in the preseason and won the Georgian Grizzlies Fall Classic tournament last weekend. Head coach Kevin Duffy says the Fall Classic win gave the team confidence going into their first regular season game.
The thing that was nice about that tournament was that we played 3 games, and the girls, everybody, there was different people that were stepping up. We weren't relying on the same 1 or 2 players. Everybody stepped up, whether it was offense or defense, played their role, scored, rebounded, whatever we asked them to do.
The team kicked off their regular season against Redeemer College with an 86-69 win last Wednesday. Duffy says that although the team played well on the offensive end, their defensive game cost them a number of points during the game.
We are focusing on this year is trying to play upbeat basketball, move the ball, pressure defense, get out on the fast break. Our first regular season game against Redeemer, we did that well enough. We scored 86 points, which was fantastic, but we just didn't do that at the defensive end. Our defense was a bit lacking. We had limited players. We were a little bit slow on our transition and on our rotation, and that ended up costing us a lot of different points in the game.
The team travels to St. Clair College this Friday for their second game of the season. Reporting for Ignite News, I'm Teresa Friesen. And that's all for your sports news today. And up next, we have Megan with entertainment.
Thanks, Teresa. Hamilton's musicians and industry specialists came together at the McIntyre Theatre to launch the 2013 Hamilton Music Awards. Ignite Entertainment reporter Neil Reyes has the story.
The Hamilton Music Awards are returning to Mohawk College. Harrison Kennedy showed off why he is one of the Lifetime Achievement Award recipients at this year's HMAs, opening the conference with a few stories and songs. Comedian Shelley Marshall will co-host the event with Alan Cross, and she says the community is what really makes the HMAs special.
What makes Hamilton unique is it's a rather large city, but it has a small-time feel. People are very connected in this town and very willing to help and be part of shows in any way they can, whether it's to take part in the show or to promote the show. It's just an incredible community of people that feel very family, even when you're not.
Among the leading nominees at this year's awards are Monster Truck with 7 and Walk Off the Earth with 4. Beyond the awards, the HMAs and Mohawk College will host a music conference and rising star competition to cultivate the city's music scene. Founder Jean-Paul Gauthier says the college's McIntyre Theatre is the perfect venue for the HMAs.
Music awards have moved around from venue to venue over the years, and we've found a very comfortable home at McIntyre Performing Arts Center, and our relationship with Mohawk College as a sponsor has really worked out well, I think, for both parties. So we find it a great size venue for what we do. It's wonderful that our conference component meshes in with the curriculum here offered at Mohawk College. So there's no other venue in town that can do that for us.
The Hamilton Music Awards, Festival, and Conference will take place at Mohawk College on November 14th to 17th. For Ignite News, I'm Neil Reyes.
Edmonton author Lynn Cody won the Scotiabank Giller Prize for the year's best book of Canadian fiction. Her short story collection, Hellgoing, is now worth much more than the $50,000 prize. The Giller can also be a career maker and spike sales, a boost often referred to as the Giller effect. Cody's was also a Giller finalist in 2011 for her novel, The Antagonist. Students are in for a treat as Diggy the DJ and the Human Kebab scratch it out in the Arnie tonight. Both DJs are from top Canadian bands. Diggy the DJ from Down with Webster and DJ Human Kebab from USS will go head-to-head on the turntables for tonight's DJ Battle Pub. Now it's time for our weekly segment called Pay It Forward, where we look at people and organizations who are giving back to the community. Joining us now is Ignite News reporter Jerry Lynn. Jerry, we think of Snow Angels as a game children play in the winter, but I understand it's also a helpful organization.
That's right, Megan. Hamilton Snow Angels helps people who are otherwise unable to clear their driveways and sidewalks.
With winter around the corner and Hamilton Snow Angels looking for volunteers, Karen Kiss talked about how she got involved in volunteering for this nonprofit organization that helps the city's seniors and the physically challenged in getting their driveways cleared.
I get a great amount of satisfaction because I get exercise and I'm making sure people are safe in their homes and caregivers can get in and out without falls.
Kiss's volunteer coordinator, Barbara Klimstra, had this to say about Kiss's volunteer work with Hamilton Snow Angels.
Karen is one of our many star volunteers. We have volunteers, some like Karen do more than one address, some just do one address, but volunteers, we always find somewhere, a sidewalk for a volunteer to shovel.
Karen Kiss has given her time in helping Hamiltonians to clear snow from driveways in the city. Barbara Klimstra, the coordinator for this organization, is looking for volunteers this winter who can help out and join Kiss in this cause. Jerry Lynn, Mohawk Ignite News, Hamilton.
Let's take a look at what's happening around campus. I have to throw.
Stressing out on exams and assignments? Managing Test Anxiety is a workshop to help students cope well with their anxious thoughts. It is today on the Fennel campus, and it runs from noon until 1 in the A Wing at 123. Mohawk College Public Relations students are holding a perishable food drive and monetary donation booth for the United Way. The drive will be at the MSA Wing on Fennel campus, near the Pizza and vending machines. They will also be collecting goods and monetary donations today until 1. The 5th annual Etiquette Dinner is Thursday at Carmen's in the Sea Hotel. It's from 6 until 9, and it's open to all staff and students. Register as soon as possible to avoid any disappointments. It has been sold out for the past 4 years.
That's it for entertainment. Now we have Paula with your weather forecast.
Thanks, Megan. Right now in Hamilton, it is currently 9 degrees with some showers. In Toronto, it is sunny with a chance of showers later on. It is also 9 degrees. It's sunny in Niagara Falls, sitting at 11 degrees. London is also sunny, and it is at 10 degrees. It is sunny with a chance of showers in Windsor. Right now, it is 12 degrees. Taking a look at the next 24 hours in Hamilton, this evening will be some showers and it will clear up overnight. It will be a high of 13 and a low of 3 degrees. Tomorrow morning, there's a mix of sun and cloud. There will be a 40% chance of showers. It's going to be a high of 7 degrees and a low of 1 degree. Let's take a look at the next 5 days in Hamilton. Tomorrow, it's a mix of sun and cloud and a high of 7 degrees with a low of 1 degree. Friday is a mix of sun and cloud, a high of 6 degrees and a low of 1 degree. Saturday is cloudy with a chance of showers, a high of 9 and a low of 2 degrees. Sunday, a high of 7 and a low of 4 degrees. And Monday, it will be a mix of sun and clouds, a high of 5 and a low of 0 degrees. That's it from me with weather. Let's pass it back to Noah and Brittany
Now for our Tech Talk feature, where we look at some of the latest trends in the tech world. This week, China Corvino takes a look at retro gaming. Wednesday, November 6th.
Whether it's their ageless appeal, imaginative graphics, or nostalgic feeling, old school games and consoles still hold their entertainment value in a world of fast advancing technology.
Let's say with buttons on the controller, you only had 2, maybe 6 buttons with the old school stuff. It just meant there's a lot more to the game, I thought. It was a lot harder. As for graphics, they had to go with a style more than just having these really high-end graphics. So when you play a game like Mega Man or Mario, there's a very stylized approach to the game, and that's why they seem still classic and relevant now. You could have really nice music and graphics for the time, but it came down to gameplay and how much you could enjoy a game and go over it and over it and over it again. A lot of people remember playing this stuff when they were younger. First time you played Mario Brothers was a special event. It was something very different. You don't get that now with new games. There's new properties, but they don't have that wow factor that Mario Brothers or playing Duck Hunt did with a friend. So you play an old Mario game, yeah, he's a guy running around. There's not that realistic approach to him. He's a cartoon character. You have fun, you play through him, he jumps around, he squishes stuff. Games are just fun.
Yeah. That's it for Tech Talk this week. For Ignite News, I'm China Corvino.
That's all your Ignite News for November 6th. My name's Noah Salo.
And I'm Brittany Medeiros. Thanks for watching, Mohawk.
Wasn't she supposed to throw back to?